I was going to ask you where you want to begin, but I mean, it's very, very logical to start with Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
So just to set the table, let's just do a quick. I mean, because I've been glued to like the whole thing, the whole Shohei Ohtani thing. I've been glued to the news to see what's happening with one of what is probably the biggest athlete, right,
Yeah.
in the world, if
Well,
definitely in
yeah.
baseball,
Oh,
right?
100%. He was slapped with to be the face of MLB, especially after this summer. Or the offseason rather, signing with the
Mm-hmm.
Dodgers, getting not huge bucks up front, right? He
Yeah,
deferred
but
a
a
lot of
huge,
his contract,
huge
but
contract, and
huge
but
contract.
offset it
Yes.
to I guess, or deferred it, I should say, to like
Mhm.
I guess the end of the contract, which is unbelievable.
Well,
Nobody's
you
ever
know
seen
what,
that before.
Germ? When you're hitting parlays and making that money, it really doesn't matter if you need it up front because apparently he's got other business plans. And you want to know what? I'm here for it. I am.
So it looks like they're trying to sweep this whole thing under the rug,
Oh,
and
100%.
and by sweeping it under the rug, I mean throwing his translator under the rug, because it seems like now they're putting everything on his translator. Otani was betting on games, and not baseball games, I guess, according to the bookie, but somebody in I shouldn't say Shohei was, but somebody in Shohei's name was betting on sports in LA,
Yeah.
where it's legal. Let's throw that out there. It's legal to do this. But the issue with me, because I was ready to come on here and defend our guy Shohei, but the story has changed already too many times for me to not kind of put my conspiracy theorist hat on. And each time it just seems more and more shady. And anybody with common sense can kind of see what really happened. And now this new version is trying to keep Shohei as clean and as away from this as possible. So the new version is his translator is taking money or wiring money from Shohei's account or
Yeah.
whatever, third party booker, in which, kind of begs the question, how does Shohei's interpreter have access to his bank account? But
Exactly.
that's a
Yeah.
whole other thing. And why is there a bookie giving $4.5 million line of credit to a translator? So that's really the main problem with my kind of absorbing this story. Okay.
hmm
And another thing to remember, Bert, the interpreter is not just some interpreter that the MLB hired. This is like Otani's best friend for like years, right?
Yeah.
He's a long time in interpreter. So I got to imagine, even if it was the interpreter, I believe it's Ipe Mitsusara. We're just going to call him Ipe from here on out, because I'm not going
Yeah.
to butcher the rest of his name. I got to imagine no bookie is going to give that type of line of credit unless Shohei is somehow involved in it, right? Does that, like, for me, that kind of makes sense for something like that to happen. So then there's like this illegal bookmaking operation going on, and Shohei's somehow involved. The Southern California FBI is now investigating it, which I'm guessing is how all this got uncovered. And they found that Matt Bower is the name of this bookie. Found that Shohei had paid $4.5 million to this bookie, and I guess back gambling debt, plus two other $500,000 payments with the same banking information, according to ESPN, who was doing their own investigation, and put out an article where they said they spoke to somebody from Otani's camp and said that he was covering the losses for Ipe. That was all his involvement was. But according to his press conference yesterday, and that now it changed again. Oh, I didn't know nothing about it, and I pay nobody. So, Bert, what the hell?
Dude,
Long story less long. What the hell is going on around here?
no one knows. That's the thing. The MLB is parading Shohei out and saying deny, 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 deny. They're not going to give us the full story. They're going to give us. We're going to get conflicting views. Nothing's going to come of this because the MLB cannot. They have to cover for their cash cow at this point. They do. They have
Yes.
a star baseball player with a big market team who has their sights set on winning a World Series, like all teams. But when you do it in a bigger market, it's going to make the league so much money. So this is where we stand, and this is where we'll be. Here's what gets me. And when he made his statement, it was just very like, yeah, well, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Now that could be a cultural thing, right? Instead of like us in America who come out and be like, I didn't do it, like just full anger and everything else. But it was very cool, calm, and collected. Like I've never bet on, baseball and so on. Here's where it gets weirder. And we put the tinfoil hats on. And as you start to pull these threads, like there's now claims that I don't know how true they are of like, there's this thread that someone found about Otani, Shohei, like possibly throwing games.
Oh my God.
And it coincides with a like bets that were placed in Shohei's hometown.
Wow.
And yeah, so I don't know how true it is, but it's literally there's 5 different cases of him throwing games where he was like literally betting the other team and like earn runs and stuff like that. That all coincide with whatever bets were made for the same, like at this same bookie in his hometown. So again, I don't know if it's true. We're never going to get an answer. And at this point, even if he is connected to something like this, the first thing I thought about was Pete Rose, right?
Mm,
At what point does MLB just say, welcome back to the game?
right.
Like, this is
Yeah.
ridiculous. Even to have your book, like your translator, and for you to even have to deny this, it's like, and not to mention how many different like betting apps there are. Pete Rose never gambled. Like he never gambled to throw the game. He always bet on his team to win. Like to me, it's just absolutely silly to still have this and have this man continue to be ostracized. And at this point, he probably won't even accept it if they were like, hey, come back. But they have to come out and make a statement and be like, look, given the light of obviously gambling that surrounds all professional sports, and now that our biggest star is associated with a gambling scandal, hey, Pete Rose, welcome back. You know, everything we've stripped you of, congratulations, you have it back now.
Did you see what Pete Rose said?
Yeah.
Somebody said, I wish I had an interpreter.
I wish I had an interpreter, yeah.
And I mean, but that's where it's headed, right? Like the interpreter is sitting there. Hey, Otani, you are rich, dog. Like you are big rich. Okay. And, okay, let me back up. I don't think the interpreters, if I was to play devil's advocate, I got to imagine his lawyers are not dumb enough to let him do a press conference. Granted, he didn't answer any questions.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything. But I got to have a hard time imagining that his lawyers would let him go out there and do something like this if he really didn't have much involvement or they're just really good at covering it up. But I got to imagine it would be a bad move to do a press conference and completely separate yourself from all of this stuff. If you did have something to do it, because now the FBI is involved, right? Like they're going to find out pretty easily if he's lying. So that's my devil's advocate argument for Shohei being innocent. But again, 4.5 million is a lot to not know about. The translator, like, is Shohei, if that's the case, Shohei just has the worst friend in the world, worst interpreter in the world, worst lawyer in the world,
And he
worst
might,
account
right?
manager in the world.
Like we hear about these people that take advantage of professional athletes all the time because they feel like they're deserved one. So that could be the case. I'm betting it's not. He seems like a smart man. So like to me, this is just insane.
And especially after the whole thing, they're shown in the dugout laughing and chatting, and it doesn't sound like somebody who's like took advantage of you, right? Like it just doesn't seem like a situation where this guy you're claiming took advantage of you, but now you're in the dugout laughing and chatting with him. That's also another kind of, brought my antennas up when it came to this whole Shohei thing. And shout out to Craig Carton, our friendly neighborhood recovering gambling addict, right? Mm-hmm. He knows a lot about this stuff, pointing out that it's smart for Ipe to now, one, not say anything throughout this whole thing, kind of go along with the story, because similar to the situation with Tom Brady and Deflategate with the equipment managers, hey, take the fall.
Yep.
I don't know what the penalties are for whatever's happening, but if it's jail time, I got to imagine this guy's going to have a really good time in jail with Shohei kind of paying his way through and doing whatever the time is. I got to imagine it's a year or 2, 3 years, whatever the penalties are, if there's any. But I'm telling you right now, nobody in baseball is trying to punish Ohtani because, like you said at the beginning of all this, he means too much to baseball. But I got to imagine by the end of this, Ipe is going to be like, "Hey, man, I did that shit. It's my gun. I'm the shooter. You know, I'm going to go sit up in jail for 3 years, and Shohei's going to get away scot free, essentially. And hopefully he
What?
learns.
I mean,
hopefully he learns a lesson.
What would Ipe be charged with?
See, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Is
I guess
Shohei
lying.
gonna press charges? Like that's what we're not hearing. Like, hey, you're saying he stole money from you. Okay, is he in prison?
So, but does it matter? So, like domestic abuse, right? If police have enough in certain states, if police have enough evidence, you don't have to. The victim doesn't have to press charges.
Yeah.
If the police know for a fact or have enough evidence to charge you
That's
yourself,
actually a good point. Yeah.
it don't matter what you say. You know what I'm saying? So they can charge you anyway. So in California, if it's proven that you can steal money, can they charge you anyway? Especially because I'm thinking more not who it is or the victim. I'm thinking of the amount. Like 4.5 mil is a lot of money to steal. Like there's there's a lot of things that kind of go along with that. Like when you steal money and regular petty crime, there's a difference between robbery and larceny and laundering. Like it all comes down to dollar amounts. So does the dollar amount kind of play a factor if it's the state or the federal government that is kind of in charge of charging Ipe Mitsusara? Dwayne Marcus, Ohtani did that shit, right?
There's no way you don't know that someone's
right. Okay. Yeah. Shout out to JT and the Don. They were talking. They covered this yesterday.
They did. Yeah, did a great job on it too.
Excellent job on it. And JT Donato brought a really good point. Like best friends, and he would never give his bank information to JT.
Hell
like
no.
never. And JT's rich, so it's like, and I still wouldn't give.
I wouldn't give my brothers my banking information.
Yeah.
No.
It's unbelievable. So, Dwayne Marcus, do you have any like overarching thoughts about predict what's going to happen? We just kind of went over what we think is going to be the end game in all this because we really don't know where the story's going. But at the end of this, when this thing is over with, what's going to happen here with Shohei and his interpreter?
I feel like the MLB is much better at handling investigations than the NFL and NBA are combined. So whatever happens, it'll be reasonable, it'll be just, it'll be fair.
Oh, all right. We'll see. Shohei will be there opening day then, which is what, Thursday. Shout out to Chris Carter. Got fired from ESPN for stating the obvious.
Get you a fall guy.
Get you a gosh darn fall guy. If you're going to be him in any league you play in, NBA, MLB, NHL, NFL, I don't pick a Mike, Jordan, Jackson, Tyson, whichever one you are, okay? Get yourself a fall guy